Hey guys, Don here. Welcome to the $1 Million Minute with Podiatry Practice Mastery, kind of helping you take your practice to the $1 million mark in personal production and beyond. So I want to go over a little bit kind of what we've been working on. We've been kind of negotiating between ModMed and Athena recently. We've currently been Athena users for a number of years, but what's happening as we're doing more cash payments, it's getting to be a little bit more prohibitively. So we kind of had a meeting with Athena, meeting with ModMed, and it looks like it's going to fall out to go with ModMed for us, both because of the percentage of only collecting what we bill, and then the cash payments don't get collected, and then just the fee for the actual EMR. So I think it's going to be a better option for us. So I will let you know as we continue to go on, and also about the transition, because that's always a kind of a challenge, and I'll let you know how that goes. Okay. The other thing, I was having some ideas. I've been listening to this Alex Hormozi. I don't know if you've listened to him. He's got a podcast called The Game, and he has kind of a neat idea. And he always talks about something that could apply to our practice, and really that is how to pay to learn skills. And if you equate this to residency, that's what you do in your 3-year residency. Is you really pay with your time and reduced income to learn skills in surgery. Once you get into practice, you have to pay to learn other skills, and that can either be by being an associate with someone else, and you learn the skills with the new doctor, or it can be when you are on your own and paying with not earning as much and kind of going to do a number of repetitions. But I think it's important to pay for skills because it can shorten the learning curve and increase your revenue a lot. And a couple of the skills that I kind of work on personally are things that I like to do a lot. So one would be shockwave. By going to different shockwave courses, I think that's a good use of paying for a skill. Orthotics. Trying to learn from other people how they do orthotics. I haven't found any great resources on orthotics. I know there's a lot of websites, and I've tried some of these online courses, but I haven't really found anything that's wowed me. So if you know anything, let me know. But it's not just how to prescribe orthotics, it's then how to explain that to patients, how to fix orthotics, how to do all the other things that go with it, and how to really slam it. What I mean by that, and that might even be the presentation, and even just taking more time explaining it to patients. Because, for example, I do maybe 25 pairs a month, and I have a partner that does about 50 pairs a month. So there's got to be a discrepancy in either the explanation or how he brings it up to patients that I'm not at that level, and so that's an area that could be useful for learning that skill. Okay. Let's go. Next year would be I want to go over the day. Just 20 patients. So the first patient was a foreign body patient, so I got an X-ray on that. Removed a small little foreign body from a patient, so there'd be X-rays and a level 3 visit. Next patient was a new patient that came in. They had equinus and arthritis, and so for the equinus they got bilateral night splints, foam rolling and morning stretch. That's that special thing I call. They also got orthotics because of the kind of more cavus foot that they had, and then the arthritis to reduce the movement. That's probably going to be my MVP patient of the day. That's something I always recommend everyone do. Try to figure out your most valuable patient of the day. Next was an orthotic follow-up. They had got them for arthritis, and they are feeling much better, so they would just need a 1-year follow-up. Another was another orthotic follow-up that had orthotics that were too high, so I just heated those up in the office, and I reduced the arch a little bit. That's a pretty common thing, and they were feeling better, so they're going to come back in 1 year. Another patient was a new patient. She had a lesion, and I did a lesion excision of that, and it was... So she had a kind of a complicated thing. So on one foot she had a porokeratoma, which I removed lesion destruction. On the other one, she had a very deep one, almost like a verrucous lesion, so I actually excised it. And so I sent that out for pathology. I'm going to see her back in 3 weeks to see how that's doing. But it was just a huge, I think it was a porokeratoma, but it could have been a wart. And it was just really, really hurting her. And the thing was huge when removing it. Now, I told her that it may come back, so we may need to do orthotics down the road. Another patient that came in for a matrix, a couple of college kids today because they're home during their college break, so they had a matrix. Another one had an I&D for an ingrown toenail. I had another patient that came in 6 weeks. After 1 week after her amnio. She had amnio last week. She had EPAT number 3 today. She's feeling much better. That was in the tibialis anterior. There's some swelling and pain to that area, and she's getting better. I'm going to see her back in 8 weeks. There was also a patient that came in for some pain to the DIPJ. So basically she had a fusion of the PIPJ, the second digit. She has a mallet toe there. Really, really painful. I tried to put in a carbon fiber inlay in her shoe, so I just have those. I get them from Dr. Jill's, and just helps the foot not to bend, so it works well with first MPJ arthritis and other types of arthritis. You can also do a custom orthotic, but I think sometimes these carbon fibers are pretty easy. They're about $100, and they work well. And she felt better, and we also talked about 2 other options. She's a little bit older, so I said one option is just to take the tip of the toe, which is to amputate, and the other part would be to do like an arthroplasty, because the joint is just tilted and hurts on the bottom of the joint. There was one routine patient. I don't know how they got in that. I tend to do all my routines on just 1 half day a week. There was a patient that came in for a nail sample to review that, and then to pick up the orthotics. So she picked up the orthotics, and I reviewed her nail sample, and she did the whole Lamisil package that I have. Another patient that came in for nail fungus, I got a nail sample for that one, and they'll be coming back, and actually they got Lamisil, and they'll be back in 3 months. So everyone gets the biotin, the 2 bottles of biotin. They're getting the shoe spray, and they're getting the UV light. The kind of the way I explain it, if you haven't seen these, you can go to patientpresentations.com and go to my presentation on nail fungus. You can see kind of how I explain it. There's also a treatment sheet there, and you can just look at mine, and it kind of explains how I have them use the UV light. I explain they use the UV light once a month, they use the shoe spray once a week, and they use the biotin once a day along with the terbinafine that they're taking. Another patient, this was a new patient. She came in for bunion pain, and I recommended anatomic shoes. That's usually what I do. She was a young woman, 29, so I think it was just bad shoes that she was wearing. And then I had 2 Swifts. One was a 62-year-old with Swift number 1, and the other one was a 19-year-old with the second Swift. So I tend to do 4 Swifts for patients, and then I see them back in 3 months. They tolerated them well. It's interesting, though. I've never done this before, but this one on the second toe, she was really, really worried, and she wanted me to numb up the toe. And so I'm like, I'm going to do this 4 times. She says, yeah, I want you to numb it every time. So I've never done that before, but if you do numb for Swift, I know you don't numb under it, right? So I numbed it proximally, and she really tolerated it well. I thought she probably would have tolerated it without it, but we ended up doing the numbing. So I'll tell you how that goes later on when she comes back. And then a patient came back for a Lamisil booster, so they came back. So what I do, 3 months for Lamisil, 6 months after they come back with a booster dose, which is a lower dose, and then I put them on a topical antifungal. So I learned this from another podiatrist, I think it was from Europe, where just kind of a maintenance, a topical antifungal on the skin to prevent any athlete's foot that could go to the toenail. And then finally, there was a last patient was just an orthotic modification. So one of the challenges is if you do more orthotics, which I talked about in the beginning, you have to do more orthotic modifications if you learn how to troubleshoot them a little bit more. And that can be time consuming. Same with brace modifications, which aren't really high value patients, those modifications. So that's where I was recently at the AAPPM conference. They talked about having your own pedorthist in-house, and they could kind of take care of all the brace dispensing, the brace modifications, orthotic modifications. If you do a lot, that might be a good idea just to save some of the headache, and they're probably better at doing them than we would be. So that's just a thought. Anyway, hope you guys found this beneficial. Let me know what your thoughts are, any other ideas that working for you. Shoot me an email down at podiatrypracticemastery.com. I'd love to hear back from people. Some people have been asking for some of my templates and treatment sheets and things like that. Happy to give them out. Just shoot me an email. Okay, thanks.